Greetings, Judah. DFG, getting into light. Hey guys, hope you can hear me pretty well. Excuse my worn appearance. Just a lot on our minds, a lot on my mind these days. As I observe and I see, what's truly going on, around us, and how this society is has fallen apart, and unfortunately, our people are in the center of everything that is happening right now. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes today and just kind of share a little bit, with you in regards to something that we all should be not only thinking about, we should be also taking action to do something about. And that is, the self-destructive behavior of our children, and what's going on with them as we get one report after another report after another report, of them just going on these rampages, these killing, rampages, where they're killing, each other and threatening, their elders, and you know taking the property away from the elders, carjackings, uh, you name it. Unfortunately, our children are doing it. And although many will probably tell you, well, that's been going on for a long time, I will tell you that, don't get caught up in this kind of stuff, talking about what's been going on a long time, and start dealing with, what's happening right now in front of our very eyes today. And understanding clearly that, this is Bible prophecy, revealing itself. Our book, Isaiah talks about it. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, he says, Yah's people. He says, my people. He says that my people, us, Israel, Judah. He didn't say the heathens. He didn't say the nations of the world. He said, as for my people, their children will be their oppressors. Their women will rule over them. And those who lead them will cause them to err and take the wrong path. And when you think about that, as an end time prophecy, that Isaiah, that Yah put into Isaiah, had him scribe it, write it, to remind us of the consequences of rebellion when we rebel against Yah and take up on the gods of this world. And I know many of our people will deny that I'm not an idolater, I'm not a sorcerer, I'm not even a believer. It doesn't matter. Many of our people are so deceived they don't know if they're practicing idolatry or not. So many of our people really think they're calling on Elohim when they're really calling on the demon gods of this planet, and they have no understanding of it. And then the other group, as they call themselves atheists or agnosticists, etc. Just a bunch of brain twisted, disconnected rhetoric, just to be able to say, I guess, that they have something to say, speak their mind, speak their piece, what have you. But I just want to just remind us again that these things that are happening to us, as much as these demons are attacking this planet, destroying this planet, this beautiful place that I am right now, this park. You can look around, at the water here. You can see the pollution. I don't know. Let me see if you can see over there where I'm pointing at. You probably can't. But if you were looking over there, or maybe even you can see right down here. Can you see there? You see cups and trash. You follow me? All over the place. No regard for nature. And this is a place where the heathens come out to way more often than Judah does. But it just shows you, the trees are dying. Here it is. It's June. And you look at some of these trees. And I'm going to come back to the word, I promise you. But take a look at this. Look at these trees. Look how they're dying. Look at the bark falling off these trees. Can you see that? Look at that. You know what I'm saying? Look at the water down there. I don't know if you can see it. You see all the debt? Look, I'm gonna see if I can put this down. You see the debt down here? Look how it's dying. Everything is dying. Look at this. It's dying. You know, this is the doing of men. Evil men. Wicked men. This is their doing. Dropping chemtrails from the skies. You know, chemicals from the skies, polluting the land. You know, hating the earth. You know, and treating the earth like it's a big wastebasket. Because at the end of the day, they have no respect for Yah's creation. Just like our children have no more respect for us. At least most of them. And there's a reason behind this. You know, when Isaiah said that the children would be our oppressors, you know, we should always ask ourselves, well, what caused that? You know, it said the leaders caused the people to err. And inside of this error, our kids have become our oppressors. In essence, our kids are terrorizing most of their family members. Our kids are terrorizing their neighborhoods, their communities. They're terrorizing, you know, the adults, the elders. And unfortunately, nothing, absolutely nothing is being done about it. Nothing is being done about it. So that means that this is going to continue to progressively get worse. Because not only are our children our oppressors today, many of the adults, those who should be giving them instruction, are afraid to do so now. They're afraid to give them instruction because in many cases they think that these kids will kill them, shoot them, hurt them, harm them, physically assault them, you know, beat the living crap out of them. Especially, you know, the older, you know, one gets. I tell you one thing, it's part of the reason why I try to take care of myself, you know, because I know it could come at any moment that I may have to physically defend myself. And I don't want to be in a situation where I can't do anything. I'm not saying I might win that fight, but I can tell you one thing that, you know, it's not going to be an easy, you know, it's not going to be an easy run for them. And again, I'm not talking about being in conflict with our children. I'm not talking about, you know, being at war with our children. What I'm telling you, unfortunately, our children are at war with us because our children have been led astray by the heathens among us because we have rejected Yah's direction for the correction of this world. You know, they told our parents, they told many of you parents years and years ago that you could no longer chastise your children. You couldn't spank them. And many of you listened for fear that you would go to jail, that your child, all they had to do is go to school and report you. What kind of school is that would create an environment for your child when they're being disciplined to be able to come to school and to report you to so-called government child protection agencies? And these people come to your home, harass you, threaten you, and in many cases take your children away. And because of that kind of intimidation, our children were left to more or less just pretty much do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And what you're seeing right now is the byproduct of it. Our children have become our oppressors. In essence, you know, as the book warned us, you know, many of us are afraid of our children. And I have to say, including myself, I'm not afraid of them in a way where that, you know, I won't share with them or give them advice or, you know, or correct them if they're wrong. But can I tell you, if I walk down the street and see some of our young men, you know, coming in my direction, is there a certain level of caution that I feel? Yeah, unfortunately, it's true. You know, I can't say that there's been any incidents, you know, so that caution was unfounded, but yet it's still there. And it's largely there because I hear all the same reports that you hear. I see all the same things that you see. And I understand what the word says. And I know that Yah is not going to mislead us. If he says that our children will become our oppressors because we have rejected him, then that's exactly what was going to happen. That's exactly what has to happen, and that is exactly what is happening. And I would tell you, some of you parents right now with young children, regardless of how young they are, if you don't want to see your child become a part of this evil, wicked generation, where they have no regard for their elders, they have no regard for their own lives, then you had better discipline them. You had better put some infrastructure in right now, and you had better challenge them every time you see them rising up in a way that shows that they're in an act of rebellion, resistance, hard-headedness, whatever you want to call it. You had better discipline them. Our book clearly said, you spare that rod, you spoil that child. And by not sparing that rod, you will save that child from hell, literally hell. That's what our book says. But yet, our book also prophesies that our children would become such of a threat to us that we would be literally feeling some kind of way about our own children. And I suspect we're the only people on this planet that feels that way. I would tell you, you go look at the Asians out there, and you go look at the so-called Caucasians out there, so-called white people, or the East Indians, or almost every other group out there outside of our group. That's not happening. That is not happening to them. And you have to ask yourself the question, well, why wouldn't it be happening to them, but it's happening to us? Because we are the ones in rebellion. They're not in rebellion. You say, well, aren't those universal laws, Dale, at least in so-called America, that you cannot chastise your child? Yeah, they're universal laws, but the heathens never had any intentions to chastise their children. They teach their children very young that, go out there and do whatever you got to do to get whatever you want to get, come hell or high water, and don't give a damn about, the laws, and don't give a damn about, who you have to hurt, take advantage of. Hey, they're telling us, what I'm saying, that the strong, is going to take advantage of the weak. So, therefore, you better be aggressive out there. You better not care about nobody. Just do whatever the hell you want to do to get whatever you want to get. And, you only have one life to live. Or whatever the hell they tell them. I'm sure that's pretty close to it. You can hear them all the time talking, well, I taught my children to do this, and I taught my children, to think for themselves. And that's something to me, is you taught your children to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And you modeled that. They modeled it for their children. And then we tried to take up on those same ways, and unfortunately, that just didn't work for us. Because we're not the heathens. We're supposed to be a light on this planet. We're supposed to be the examples of what humanity looked like to the heathen. And unfortunately, in many cases, because we allow our leaders, as our book said, to lead us or cause us to err, and now we'll follow the wrong path. And our book says there's a way that seemeth right to a man, but the end thereof is the ways of death. And look at what's happening. We have led our children right into death traps because of a lack of discipline, a lack of training, a lack of teaching them. We allowed them to go into these public schools and these other school systems where, they intentionally took prayer out of the schools. They took the word out of the school and made sure there was no semblance of anything that our children could connect to in terms of Elohim, or Yah. And these things, you let me tell you what I believe, my sisters and brothers, I believe they did that intentionally. I think we were the target of that, just like we're the target right now of this so-called pandemic. I believe that we were targeted in terms of, the values, the morals that our book brought into the classrooms. Because our children would, come up and say, no, my mama said, or no, they might use the word God, unfortunately, but God said you can't do this, and God said you might go to hell, and God says I'm not supposed to disrespect, whatever it was. The Ten Commandments, whatever it was that was there as a light post, so that our kids could at least have something, as a barrier, a buffer beyond your discipline as a parent. to guide them away from the heathens and in the ways of the heathens. But unfortunately, we not only did we not protest, we allowed our kids to stay a part of those wicked, bill, influence, educational systems that deny the existence of Elohim and teach evolution to our children to ensure that they become, the longer they stay in that system, that they become more and more like the heathen and less like the people of Elohim. And now, again, this is what we're facing. Our forefathers didn't have to face that. Our forefathers, there aren't stories in our book about our forefathers being afraid of their children. What we see in our book is messages around how our children always reverence their forefathers, how their fathers and their mothers, and they were loyal and honorable, and they cared for them, and they worked hard to keep that legacy going. From David to Jonathan, from Jonathan to his sons, on and on and on. I'm sorry, David to Solomon, and Solomon to his children. But there are many examples. Abraham to Isaac, Isaac to Jacob, Jacob to his 12 sons. But today, when you start looking at fathers passing things down to their sons as far as the knowledge of Elohim, their heritage as the children or the chosen of Elohim, that is not happening anymore. And now, again, look at how our children are murdering each other, destroying their homes, destroying their families, destroying any opportunity that they might have to have some type of a life that I guess at the end of the day you would call worth living. And I know this wicked place don't give them much, guys. I realize that this wicked world doesn't offer our children a lot. But it wasn't up for the world to do it. It was our responsibility to do it as parents. Solomon said in Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way that he should go. And when he is old, what? That child would not depart. And if you follow this channel, you heard me talking about the prodigal son in Luke, where this boy ran off, being attracted by the world, being tempted by the world, but ultimately coming back because his father put the right stuff in him. Our children now, unfortunately, they're not only not coming back, they're dying out there. They say they're dying, on the limb right now. And there is no sign of any type of recovery because guess what? The leaders still refuse to stand up and call on the name of Elohim, to teach their children the importance of a relationship with Elohim, to come out from among these heathens. Love not the things of this world. Many of our parents tell them, go get you an education so you can get the things of this world. The very things that all of those people who have gotten abundance in those things will tell you those things destroyed their lives. Yet we still encourage our children to go out there and seek after that. But when it comes down to seeking after a relationship with Elohim, mum's the word in most households today. And most of the parents out there, most of you out there, you're so concerned with having a relationship with your child that you refuse to open your mouth and judge your child when they're doing unrighteous and wickedness. And you refuse to lead your children back to Elohim for fear that, they're going to cut you off. So I guess you'd rather have a relationship where they're destroying themselves through drugs, alcohol, lifestyles that are considered abominable before Yah. I'm talking about homosexuality, all those things, murdering their own children, through pro-choice, leaders who are, again, leading our children. So you'd rather have your child, drug, infested, alcohol-induced, hard-hearted, no genuine love with himself. You'd rather establish that relationship in the name of having a relationship than giving them the truth so that maybe they would find Yah and have a genuine life, a real life, a chance, of surviving, and not only a chance of surviving, but a chance of being able to have a life of, a substance where that when they leave here, they're not afraid of the consequences of the things that's to come. And again, to be clear here, I'm going to say it again to you. Many of you would rather allow your children to be any kind of way just to establish a relationship than to say, you know what, if you can't follow the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yah as I'm doing my best to follow and as I'm encouraging you to follow, then we don't have a relationship, and we won't ever have one. Because you know what, I'd rather, challenge you to live for Yah than to have a relationship with you and see you die. Premature death. And if it's not a physical death, to see you die a mental death where you don't care about anything anymore. You don't even care about your own family, your own children. You don't even care about me, your parent. And that's really, that is a sad, sad judgment. That's a sad indictment against us, Judah. That we would rather encourage their wickedness or turn our head to their wickedness than to confront them with the word and help them to understand that without the word, we, the people of Elohim, will be destroyed off this planet. And the book has already said 2/3 of us are going to die from diseases, famine, and, of course, murder. And yet again, you don't see any evidence of it. What you see is a bunch of churches out there now, on this so-called day of worship. You can walk in almost any church and you're not going to hear them talking about, murder and rape and disobedience to parents. You're not going to hear them talk against homosexuality. You're not going to hear them talk about lusting after money and wealth and prestige. What you're going to hear them is saying, you know what? Y'all got something special for you. Today is your day. Something good's gonna happen to you today. You gonna be, all you got to do is ask the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because His grace and mercy says, you know what? You whatever you want, just ask me for it, and I want you to prosper. Lying their asses off, because in that prosperity message that's out there, it leads them straight to hell. And these wicked ass preachers don't give a damn. Because as long as you bringing that money up there to them, and long as they're getting their blood sacrifices, whether it's through sex, homosexuality, greediness of filthy lucre, which means money, to get their little, showcase, their little stance, get their little, getting whatever that is. They love to have their nice homes, their nice cars. They don't give a damn about what happens to our people, most of them. They just don't. Oh yeah, they say it with their mouths, but their hearts, no way. Go walk in there. Go walk in there. No. I'm glad you're not walking in there anymore. Put it like that. Just remember when you were walking in there. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Remember when you were walking in there and you realized that these were nothing but a bunch of pimps and whores and prostitutes. Well, whores, prostitutes, extortioners, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in there trying to figure out how to, get a come up, who in there, who's inside this church that I can go and get what I want, whether it be money, prestige, access to something else, including sex. And hopefully one of those messages and these messages that I've shared with you have caused you to come out there and recognize that this is the place for demons. There's no life in those places. But now, these same, demons are pushing, the jab and all other shit that's going on. I mean, I guess I can go on and on and on. I guess my disappointment is so great of what's going on with our children, and unfortunately the role that many parents have played in it, that it's just hard for me to have, one clear thought on it, because it's just so many pieces to this. There's so many layers to this thing. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. So when Isaiah said our children, the people of Yah, the children of Elohim, not the world, will become our oppressors. Again, that book, that prophecy is not only true, but now we're starting to see it. And many, many tears are being shed, and there are going to be a lot more tears to be shed. A lot of you mothers out there who are letting your sons run awry, you fathers who are letting your daughters run awry, or your sons, your family, and you not taking any accountability to put a stop to that ship come no matter what. guess what? You're going to be judged for it. The book says a man that does not take care of his children is worse than an unbeliever, and not just monetarily. You are instructed again to train up your children in the ways of Yah. Men and mothers, both of you. You're without excuse. You cannot blame this on the government. You can't blame it on the school. You can't blame it on your preacher. You are the high priest. You are the mother of your homes. You are the first teacher of those children. No one is stopping you, from taking the initiative. Just like you take the initiative on any damn thing else. When you have food in the house, you take the initiative to go shop. When there's no money, you take the initiative to go to work to make sure there is money. Whatever you take the initiative to do, put it like this, people do what's important to them. I'm gonna say that again. People do what's important to them. So if you thought it was important, you would do it. The fact that you don't do it is because although your mouth says important, it's not important to you. Because if it was, you would have done something about it, or you'd be doing something about it. And you would not stop. You would be relentless. You would grind it to powder, no matter how hard it was. It wouldn't matter to you. They could resist. They could call you stupid, call you crazy, call you super religious. They could call you, over the top. They could call you, crazy. You wouldn't give a damn what they said, because you would understand in that maybe your voice is the only voice between them and an early death, and between them being judged and going to hell. And if you really love them, you would fight your own self to make sure that you were training and teaching them and holding them accountable, as well as disciplining them, when it's called for or when it's necessary. But unfortunately, again, so many of the parents today, most of them worse than the goddamn children. Your daughters are whores because you're a whore. Your sons are tramps because you're a tramp. I mean, that's the truth of it in many, many cases. So, how you going to tell them to straighten up, pull up their pants, or put down their dresses when you got your dress up and your pants down? How can two walk together except they agree? So if your children are heathens, probably because you're a damn heathen. And that's a judgment. And that's a judgment, as the book said, your children again will become your oppressors. But let us not stop there. Then it says your women will rule over you. Look at the feminist movement. Look at what's going on with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter was supposed to be about George Floyd and, not George Floyd, but the brother, the Brown brother. What was his name? In St. Louis. It'll come to me in a moment. Michael Brown. These movements were supposed to be about injustice to black men getting murdered out here in the street by police. And what did it end up becoming? A woman's movement. Better yet, a lesbian woman's movement. Lesbians took over, and they had no place for heterosexual men in their platform in terms of leadership. That's their own manifesto saying that. And not only that, look how corrupt it has become. Yeshua said, you'll know a tree by the fruit that it bears. So now one of the main leaders, what it is, she's not finding out that she's been extorting money, building extravagant homes, really stealing. It was all a big charade at the expense, again, of black men. And especially you black men who are guilty of what's this word? Glorifying these women. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you instead of you going to your woman, to your daughter, to your mother, you know what I'm saying, and having these true conversations with them around their behavior, you got caught up in this woman glorifying event. Well, I want to be accepted, and I don't want to come across as toxic. I don't want to come across as narcissistic. So therefore, I'm just gonna get along. You know what I'm saying? And you bought into that white lie. You know what white men would go around saying? You go ask them, hey, what about this or what about that? You're thinking about, I got to go talk to the boss first. Who was the boss? They're women. And what did your stupid ass do, my brothers? Your stupid ass started saying the same thing that they were saying. And they were never listening to their women. Let me tell you something. I've been around these people most of my life. And I have lived amongst these people and worked amongst these people most of my life. And I'm going to tell you something. White women don't tell white men what to do. Asian women don't tell Asian men what to do. They may advise and share information, but they're not the bosses. Arab women do not tell Arab men what to do. That was all a lie, a disguise to get our women to become even more resentful of their men and to dishonor their men. And in that dishonor, take the position that their men were not necessary, their men were irrelevant in the household, and therefore, it was not a problem to throw him out and let the government in, or let their jobs in. And many of you women, you've been guilty of this. And yet they'll come back, well, the men were abusive. Look, women are abusive and men are abusive. People, human beings, without Elohim guiding them, are abusive. So those are just convenient lies, just to justify what you already had in your heart, sisters, many of you, not all of you. And you use that as an excuse to destroy your own families because you did not want a man to rule over you, as the book said he would. But in your rebellion, as the book said, now you're ruling over your men. And Yah says he's going to judge you for it. Oh yeah, he's going to take you down for it. You just heard me mention, again, look at the book. Isaiah 3:12. Women will rule over the men. That's a judgment. That is a curse. That is not a blessing, sisters. Again, your leaders have led you astray. Those feminist movements have led you astray, have caused the tearing down of your own families, your own family infrastructures. And now look what's happening to your children. Hell, look what's happening to you. Many of you now have turned into homosexuality. How sad is that? Oh, I just want to try it. I'm just being curious. I'm not really gay, but I just want to experience it. Do you not know what the book says about if a woman lied with a woman like she lied with a man, that it is an abomination unto Yah? Go back and read it for yourself. Leviticus chapter 18. Leviticus chapter 20. Go back and read Romans chapter 1. Talk about verse 20. Changing the natural use of the man, they turn in lust one towards another, reaping upon themselves condemnation. Or damnation. That's what he said, not condemnation, because you don't feel condemned, many of you, for that behavior. You feel justified in doing so. After all, like you said, my body, I can do whatever I want to do with it. Right? But okay, just understand, you're going to have to face the Maker at judgment. And sister, he's going to review all these things, these decisions that you made and are making, this high-mindedness that you have. You're going to have to face him in judgment. And he's going to say the same thing to you that you hear me saying right now. But he's going to be a lot more clear, because he's going to tell you everything you ever wanted to know about yourself. Every secret you thought you were hiding, he's going to bring it out in front of you. And you are going to be without excuse. You're going to be weeping and gashing of your teeth. You are going to pay a heavy, heavy price for this rulership over your men. So it's not a blessing, my sister. I'm sorry, I know you may not want to hear that, but because you feel like men and women are all this shit that your leaders have led you to believe in error. They were wrong. And they're taking you off the path of Elohim, as the book says. And for you few sisters out here who said, no, I'm going to do it the right way. I didn't know this, and now that I know, thanks to, messages like yourself, DFG, I'm going to change. I'm going to put down my guards, and I'm going to open up my heart and start loving my brothers the way I'm supposed to love my brothers, and love my man as I'm supposed to love my man, through honor and respect and submitting unto his authority as my covering. Because in this same book, Isaiah says that again. Most of you all who decide to go the other way, decide not to submit, not to succumb, you're going to come back begging. And I know you don't want to hear that. You're probably like, I don't want to hear that. That's okay. It doesn't matter if you don't want to hear it. It still doesn't make it not the truth. The book is the truth. And what really throws me for a curve, a lot of you ladies claim that you love Elohim, that you're believers. You're Christians. Well, how you are a believer or a so-called Christian, but you're going to reject the truth when you hear the truth because it's inconvenient for you? Did not Yeshua say, why call Elohim Lord, Lord, and do not the things he says? He said, if you don't do the things he says, he's not your Lord. Therefore, you are a liar. You're not a believer. You're not a daughter of Zion. You're not a sister of Sarah. You're a liar. That's what you are. You're a liar. If you reject the word because the word inconveniences you, then that makes you a non-believer. That makes you a heathen. That means that you are serving the gods of this world. In other words, men. Men rules, men philosophies. The concepts of men, men's movements. So when he says that the women would rule over the men, it is a judgment against you, sisters. And my brothers, guess what? It's a clear judgment on us. Because that means that what Yah had put us in as the head, now we are the tail. And if you think about it, the last place of reference for a man should be his woman. If he can't find peace and love nowhere else, he should be able to find it with his woman. If he cannot find encouragement anywhere, he should have been able or should be able to find it with his woman. If he can't find acceptance anywhere else, he should be able to find it with his woman. After all, that's who you chose to become one with. Or at least that's who you chose to join together with. And as it looks today, that very thing has become, that very thing now is used as a weapon against you. And again, that's our judgment, my brothers. And I'm telling you, and we can't change it, by the way. There's no changing this. Sisters, you can't change it. Brothers, you can't change it. What's going on with our children dying out here, that's not going to change. None of this is going to change, including 7 women who are in such desperate states begging a man to protect them. That's coming too. You can't change that. You can't change it. It's going to happen. The question is it going to happen to you? That's your question, sisters, brothers, young children, young adults. The question is it going to happen to you? Because you youngsters who are out there doing it, ultimately, this is going to turn on you. I know you think I can go out and do whatever I want to do. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm vibrant. I just graduated high school. I'm grown now. I just graduated college. I'm going to be, you're going to reap what you sow. The book says, be not deceived. Yah is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you're going to reap it. So all this mayhem and this rebellion and doing whatever you want to do, whatever the consequences of that, it's going to come back to you. You're not going to get out of this. You're not going to escape judgment either. You're going to be destroyed. A lot of you guys out here laying up with women and laying up with men and laying up with the same sex. You don't know about AIDS and HIV, STDs, and everything else that goes along with that lifestyle. You don't know about the mental disorder that goes along with homosexuality. Do you realize that homosexuality, as recent as the 1960s, was considered a mental illness? That homosexuality is truly a mental disease? And truly, it's really a demon spirit. It's a Jezebel spirit that got into a woman that makes her want to be a man. And I don't know what kind of spirit. I guess Lucifer, because Lucifer is a homosexual. The Bible said that when he comes in his full power, at least the demons, the man of sin, he's not going to have any desire for women. That's in Daniel chapter 11, I believe that is. If not 12. Check Daniel 10, 11 to 12. It's going to be there. It said this man is going to have no love for no women. So I guess you got a Lucifer spirit in you. Paul did warn that men would become lovers of their own selves. Meaning that men would embrace homosexuality, as a new wave or a new thing or an exciting thing or a better thing. But did he warn you? Is it written in the book? Well, it's in the book about the diseases that's going to affect you. Yah said that all the diseases that were never intended for his people, that those diseases would attack you. That's Deuteronomy chapter 28. He said these plagues would destroy you if you did not keep my laws, statutes, and commandments, my sisters and my brothers. And guess what? All those diseases that are inside of many of the bodies of many of you all right now, you don't even know those diseases are there. And one of these days they're going to show up in your in your health. And guess what? You're going to get eaten from inside out. And again, you know, I say this because again, I don't feel like I have anything to hide. I just don't see a reason to keep it in the dark when I know that so many of you are in this darkness and you're making this fatal mistake. But I told you before, I have 2 siblings that were homosexuals. Well, I should say one that was a homosexual and one, I'm not quite sure what that lifestyle looks like today. 2 siblings, one female, one male. The female, her life has just been a total disaster. I'm just being honest about it, you know, including, you know, allowing one of her children to be murdered as an infant, talking 6 months old, and has so many lovers, so-called lovers or whatever, sex partners, homosexual sex partners, that I bet she couldn't count them. If you gave her $10 million, she couldn't count them. And for my brother, he's dead, been dead. AIDS, he died of AIDS. What is that, autoimmune deficiency? Is that what it's called? I don't remember the actual, what it stood for. But AIDS. See, and they're not even talking about that anymore. AIDS killed my brother. My brother died of AIDS. And he never saw the age of 31 years old. He lived that lifestyle for about 15 years. And in his lifespan, he got his nose cut off. He got beat the shit out of. He got incarcerated for attempted murder. Died in a filthy jail cell of AIDS by another homosexual lover that he was engaging in unnatural sex with. And no, that was not 1,000 years ago. That was, really be honest with you, that was in the 90s. That was not that long ago. So if any of you guys have been born after 1990, my brother was still alive when you were born, and he died not long after that. So we're not talking a long time ago. AIDS is still here. AIDS is still one of the major killers of our children. And yet this wicked society and these wicked preachers and teachers and evangelists are not saying anything about it. Not only are they not saying anything about it, they're encouraging the lifestyle. Telling you it's progressive. It's the new way. We got to change the way we do things. We got to understand that love it includes everyone, including loving animals. When we talked about sweet tooth yesterday, and how that's something either change the DNA of humans, that possibly, or they were doing scientific experiments, or people having sex with animals, as you know, bestiality. And they're telling you that's here, that's to come. But when you look at Atlanta and some of these other major cities, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Houston, Washington, D.C., you know what I'm saying? These are epic centers of AIDS, and our people are dying. And these are the same epic centers that homosexuality has thrived in, San Francisco included. And yet nobody's talking. They're talking about the gay lifestyle, but nobody's talking about the debt that's attached to it, the early debt that's attached to it. They're not talking about that. But again, these are the repercussions of a people who leadership has led them in error. And now and because of their error, have led us off the pathway of Yah. And again, there's no way of changing the consequences. This is written. Yah is not as man where he lies or repents. Yah's word is forever established. If he said it's going to be, it's going to happen. The question is it going to happen to you? That's your question. Is he talking about you, or is he talking about some of these other heathens running around here? You know? You can see, or is he talking about them? Time will tell. But I want to remind you, if you're still alive and you're still in your right mind, and demons are attacking you and leading you to do many of these things that I've already talked about, Yah can restore you. But you got to want it more than you want anything that you've ever wanted in your entire life. You will have to want to be redeemed from it, torn away from it. And he will get you there. He will use his messengers as a light to guide you there. But you got to want it. And you cannot be afraid of your children. You cannot be afraid of your women. You damn sure can't be afraid of these filthy demon-ass leaders. And you cannot love this wicked-ass world that's full of demons everywhere you turn. You're going to have to love Elohim with all your heart. You're going to have to love Elohim all your mind and all of your soul. You're going to have to want this more than you want anything if you want to make it out of this mess, if that's the mess that you're in. It's possible, but it's going to come with a price. It's going to come with a cost. This, salvation is not free. They lied to you. Oh, salvation, whosoever will, that's a lie. Salvation is not free. So salvation comes with a price called discipline. It's called honor. It's called reverence. It's called respect. It's called for obedience. It's not free. And that's these lying devils in these damn hellhole churches that told you that. Saved by grace, not of work, not of anything of your own. It's a gift of God. Lying their asses off. When the book clearly says, if you love me, you must keep my commandments. But they took a letter that one man wrote to another man, and they made that letter a doctrine, and then used that doctrine to lie to the people in their congregations. I'm talking about these epistle letters. Do you realize, I don't know if you guys may have thought, maybe you didn't think about this. Do you realize that the Apostle Paul, Peter, James, John, do you realize there was no such thing as a New Testament the whole time these men were alive? There's no way, anything that these men were talking about, they were talking about it from the Old Testament. And if they weren't talking about the Old Testament, they were just having a dialogue. It's like you texting somebody about a concern that you have, or maybe a question they have for you. And that text message, someone else got a hold to that, and then they shared it with somebody else, and then before you know it, they made it, a doctrine, and after that, you got everybody else believing something that had nothing to do with you. It was just something you were sharing with a friend. Do you know most of those epistle letters fall into that exact same category, except for the ones that are quoting the Old Testament doctrine, the scripture? Wasn't one of, I think it was Peter said, all scripture was given by the authority of Elohim. The scriptures didn't die. That's a lie doctrine. Oh, they're old now. That's a lie, guys. That is a flat out lie. Yeshua warned us heaven and earth would pass away before one jot or tittle of that law would pass away. The scripture, the Torah. I mean, if it passed away, then explain the end time prophecies that we can see all through the book of Maccabees. We can see all through Enoch, the book of Enoch. We can see it all through the book of Jasher. We can see it all through, Deuteronomy. How could that be if it's done away with, or if it never existed, or if it's a lie? Why are we seeing these things come to fruition right now, if all that's supposed to be done away with? No, that was a lie to keep our identity hidden from us. That was false doctrine of false teachers who came into our congregation with lies and doctrines of devils to get us away from Elohim, to start worshiping Jesus and all these other wicked ass gods. And they were very successful with it, I might add. So when you look at all this stuff that's going on right now, children, there was a young lady in Jackson, Mississippi the other day, graduated. The same day she graduated, got shot to death in a gas station a couple of days ago. There was another celebration here where people at a graduation party, someone come up and killed 2 of them and shot up a bunch of other ones. And again, carjacking and robbery and stuff like it going on in this city, going crazy. Talking about New Orleans. But it's not just happening here, it's nationally. Probably in your city too. But here's what's really important you need to remember. One of these phone calls gonna be somebody calling you about your child, or calling somebody else, telling them about you as the victim. One of these knocks on the door, it's going to be, you know, the police department telling you it's your child now. Because so many of you, because it's not happening to you, you looking at it like, well, it's not happening to me, so therefore I don't have to concern myself with it. I can assure you the parent who lost their children, lost a child last night, were thinking just like you were thinking yesterday morning. Yah said, the day you hear my voice, don't harden your heart. In other words, don't resist the truth. Hear it. Accept it. And then use the word of Elohim as a cleanser. Like you would use it as a laxative to wash yourself, the filth out of your mind and out of your body. Return back to him. See, draw close to me and I'll draw close to you. But he said, a wicked and a foolish generation, they're going to continue to go the way of this world. That's why Yah said, love not the world, neither the things of the world. If any man who loves those things, any woman who loves the things of this world and the ways of this world, he said, the love of Elohim could never be inside of you or them. He said, he wanted to take the straight and narrow path, the disciplined path that leadeth to eternal life. And he said that you will be amongst only a elect few. But in the end, you'll be glad you did. In this world, and obviously in eternity to come. So I'm going to end this message for you and tell you that, you know, what he says, as for my people, children shall rule over them. Or be their oppressors, I'm sorry. As for my children, children shall be their oppressors. And women will rule over them. And their leaders will lead them in error and take them away from me. Don't let it be you. It's time to stop the madness. You got to get these demons out of your heart so you can get these demons out of your house. Otherwise, they're going to do what they always intended to do. They come to you in these loving, soft little ways. Oh, it's okay. It ain't causing no harm. You got a right to do what you want to do. Nobody is your judge. Only Yah can judge you. He is going to judge you. He's already judging us. Can't you see? He's judging nature too. And nature is being destroyed because of Judah, Israel, by the way. Nature is waiting on the return of Elohim. But yes, he is going to judge you. He's already judging you. So now you have to step back and ask yourself the question, who you going to serve? Are you going to serve the one who came to steal, kill, and destroy? Because that's what he's doing to you and doing to your loved ones, doing to your people. And right now he has carte blanche. In other words, it's an open gate now to do it. It's killing season. Or are you going to serve the protector, the provider? Him who can put that ring of fire around you, that you might be able to have a life here and an abundant life in the life to come. All right? But that's the choice you got to make, my sisters. That's the choice we have to make, brothers. But if you're tired of seeing this debt and mayhem in our community, then you need to start this at home. You know, when they get out to the street, these kids get 13, 14, it's too late. I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, y'all could change them. Some have changed, most have not. But if you had trained them up, as Proverbs 22:6 said, when they were children, then we wouldn't be dealing with almost any of this stuff that we're dealing with now. So you got to get these children babies. And again, if you're at an age where you can't have babies or you're too old for babies, but you got grandbabies, it's time now to fight with your children if you have to get to that child, to that grandchild, and insist that that grandchild knows Elohim. Hell, if the mom won't do it, the filthy, ignorant ass father, emasculated and feminized ass won't do it, whoremongering ass won't do it, then you say, hey, bring the grandchildren over. I'll keep them. And as soon as they walk their wicked ass outside of the door, you sit down with that children and you start. Elohim, Yeshua, you are the son and daughters of Israel, of Isaac. You are the sons of Abraham. We are the people of Elohim. We are the people of the book. We love the law, statutes, and commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, his oxen, his car, his home, his fence. Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Thou shalt love Elohim with all your heart, your mind. Thou means you, honey. Thou means you, daughter. Thou means you, son. Come on, sing along with grandpa. Come on, sing along with grandma. Our mothers and fathers, if you are persuaded, and if you are coming into your right mind because you understand this message is intended for you today, if you're in or have been in rebellion or still in rebellion, then you do it. And if your parents are wicked and are a bunch of heathens and over here want to teach your child how to twerk or your boy how to do the Dougie or whatever the hell they're doing now, then keep your children away from their wicked asses. When they say, hey, y'all coming over, say, nah, we've got plans. It's not a lie. You say, no, we gonna, and to make sure you're not lying, you let your plan be, I'm going to teach them something out of the book today. That's my plan. Amen? If you love them, give them a chance. If you love your own life, give yourself a chance. But the only hope we have now in these last and evil days is turning back to our Creator and allowing Him to send forth His Rahuk to lead and guide us into all truth and protect us from the wickedness and the evil, the abominable, the debauchery things that are soon to come into your house. Not on the earth, it's already on the earth, but soon to come knocking on your door. Praise Yah. DFG, talk to you later. Bye now.